Hello, I'm Hal Ottaway with the Wichita Postcard Club, and it's time once again for a postcard of the week. What we're leading up to, and we're so excited, is that very soon now will be our 44th Wichita Postcard Club show here in Wichita. 44 years, imagine, think about it. But this is an exciting day today because we're going to visit a little bit with Susan Lane from New York State. She's a collector and she's a dealer and she's a bookseller and she brings goodies in her suitcase when she comes to Wichita. Sometimes a book that's autographed and personalized. I like those, of course. In any case, let me please introduce you to Susan Lane and let her tell you a little bit about why she comes to Wichita and why she keeps coming back, too. Take it away, Susan. Thank you.
Thank you, Hal, and welcome to everyone that's here today to listen to my postcard of the week uh, episode. But first, I want to start off with why I do come and how it happened that I came. And going back many years ago, and I can't tell you how many exactly, but I'm going to say roughly 20 years ago, my friend Ralph Muscarella would talk to me about his going out to Wichita with his wife, Ruth, and the fun they had, the things that the club did, and the things that the club might do, and the people that were there. And, I listened to him, and maybe 2, 3 years later, I finally gave in and said, all right, if Ralph is going to go, he will drive, I will fly, and at least when I'm there, I'll have one friend that I know I have and will be comfortable there with having at least one friend. So he reminded me to call Mr. Ottaway before I got on the plane, and I did. And sure enough, my plane landed in Wichita, the center of the United States, a several hour flight from New York. And sure enough, Hal Ottaway introduced himself. And in the 20 minutes or so that it took to get to the hotel where the before activities take place, he we chatted, and I couldn't have been more comfortable with him. But with that being said, he dropped me off at the front desk and he went about to do some of his other business. I went up to my room and I kind of stood there and looked out, and I don't know anyone. And it's supposed to be fun, but where does the fun start? With that, I see a blue cap walking by my room. It was Ovi from Connecticut, a good friend. And there, oh, Ovi, it's Susan. He came into the room, he grabbed my hand and said, come with me. And we walked down the hall and he introduced me to each and every dealer on the second floor and told me their name and told me what they were more or less accomplished for. And from the second floor, we went down to the first floor. And we walked to the first room. And before Ovi could tell me who it was, I looked in the room and said, Bill Peterson? Bill, I had known from 20 years before. He was my supervising clinical supervisor at Mystic School for the Deaf. I was a student at UConn at the time, and he taught me everything I needed to know for my professional career. Well, I walked in with a hug for him and stories that were told. And I told Ovi, I'm okay now. And Bill and I talked for quite some time. And while I was talking with him, I was browsing through cards and catching up on information. And with that, I pulled out some cards. And here's the first card that I pulled out of Bill's inventory. That's Claudette Colbert. The second card I pulled out was this card. And that card was Dolores Del Rio. And the third card I pulled out, I had no idea who he was, but this was Noel Asher. But what a face. I couldn't get over the caricatures of these three cards. And to this day, I remember that these are the first three cards I bought in Wichita, and I can't be more delighted with them. They're cards that these are caricatures done by a well-known caricaturist by the name of Nino Za. Now, Nino comes with a real name. He's an Italian illustrator, and his name is Giuseppe Zanino. And with the help of my friend Bonnie Singer, we've put together a list of all the cards we could find of this artist. And I assume that of this particular set, there are 50 cards. I'm just past halfway through finding them. They're not easy to find in the States. But again, these were my first cards in Wichita, and they are special. Every character that he did, whether it was Bridget, looking here to see Greta Garbo, whether it was Bridget Helm, whether it was Katharine Hepburn, whether it was Adolphe Monsieur, they're all wonderful cards done from charcoal drawings. Nino was a well known in Europe for his illustrations. He did many magazine covers over the time. And in Europe, they know him, but in the United States, not so much. But here was an important find for me, and something that I will continue to pursue because I have about 20 more cards to go. And you never know where I'll find them, perhaps in Wichita, and perhaps somewhere else. If anyone cares to see more of them, I've got them here, and they're just adorable. Oh, I left out Josephine Baker. She's in several of them. Some of the artists he did 2 pictures of. Most of them, it's a single picture. There's Maurice Chevalier, there's Wallace Berry. He started doing these illustrations in the 30s, early 30s, and there are some into the 70s, but most of his publications grew up in the 30s, and then he moves on to the 50s and so forth. But all along, he was doing illustrations. He was an art dealer. He was a painter. He was a writer who's quite a character and a handsome man. And I believe he did a picture of himself, but I'm not sure that's what it is. I do have a book. I mentioned that I got a checklist from a friend, another friend, who you may know, Francis Grass, because he had come to Wichita. Unfortunately, we lost him this year, but he also provided me with a book about Nino. So I have my own reference library and a lot of fun looking for more cards.
Thank you, Susan. My goodness, you can just tell her exuberance and her excitement about postcard collecting and coming to Wichita, and she does shows all over the East Coast and really the world. Her husband's from Belgium. Interesting people. And we just look forward to seeing you again this year at the Wichita Postcard Show. It starts on the 15th and the 16th of October. That's the 3rd weekend in October. And we'll look forward to seeing you. There's advertisements and flyers and everything here online, so I'll let you look for those. Or if you need help, or if you need to be picked up at the airport, let us know, and we'll send a club member out to pick you up too. Thanks for being here, and thank you, Susan, for being so helpful and being here today. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye now.